us at 818-610-8088, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088, TaheeboTeaClub.com.
Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show right here on NBC's KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today I'd like to give a special thank you to Story Pitch Decks for sponsoring today's episode. Are you a startup founder looking to improve your pitch and secure investor funding? Check out Keen Angle's book, How Good Is My Pitch Deck? Keen has helped raise hundreds of millions of dollars for startups across the globe with his proven strategies and actionable frameworks. Head over to Amazon and search for How Good Is My Pitch Deck to get your copy today.
Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio. If you're ready to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and bra straps, enjoy a listen. Here's Sheila.
Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today we have special guest Emma Pawnil. Emma is a creative entrepreneur integrating art forms to inspire emotional healing. Emma is a professional educator, musician, and creative with a wide range of disciplines, including emotional development and intelligence, professional development, leadership and mentorship, cons- conservative biology, piano, music and songwriting, active improvisation, and more. She melds these disciplines through her music and authorship, utilizing multimedia stimulations for her creative works. As a scientist and artist, she strongly believes a mind balanced with these disciplines leads to the highest degree of success and well being. Her most recent creations include children's picture books with musical accompaniment, such as Gentle Dragons for helping children develop healthy emotional habits, as well as guided journals and planners for inspiring creativity and a balanced, healthy mind. One of her larger upcoming projects includes her first vocal release, Soul Flame, a song dedicated to suicide awareness and prevention, to be released September 10th, 2021 for Worldwide Suicide Prevention Day. And I am going to share a short clip of this incredible song that Emma has created for suicide prevention that is coming upon us soon in September. So listen in, and if you or someone you love is having issues with thoughts of suicide or severe depression, contact your National Suicide Prevention Line, or 211 will also help you find the help you need. Here is a sample of Emma Pawnil and Soul Flame for Suicide Prevention Month, coming soon.
Things I tell you might distract you from your path. Jealousy can have a tendency to last. Things I tell you might just make you second guess. Keep you focused on the scars from your past. So you let them into your head. Why do you let them into your head?
Wow, that's a lot. Welcome to the show, Emma.
Hi, it's great to be here.
All right. And this show actually started out based on my new best selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And we have definitely experienced more situations than I could even fathom. I wrote it right before all our pandemics and craziness started. So it has been such a time. And I love to share with guests and listeners, times where you have overcome a difficult situation and how you got back on track. So, do you have something to share with the audience today?
Yes, actually, it's nearly directly tied to the Soul Flame release. Actually, I was in a rigorous academic program for college where I pursued veterinary science. And all my life, I had told myself, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pursue this. And I was very good at it and very serious about it. But I reached a point where uh, life just started really getting to me. And in college, the stresses, the academic stresses were so much, and there was a whirlwind of stuff just going on that I think everybody experiences at some point in their life. And I reached a point where I felt like I had an identity crisis, where I felt like, oh my goodness, I don't think I want to be a vet anymore. After feeling that way, of feeling like I needed to be a vet since I was 7. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you build your identity off of that, it was enough, coupled with emotional issues that I was going through as far as relationships during that time, that it took me to a very, very dark place, um, where I felt like I wanted to consider leaving the planet, basically. And um, in the process of going through that experience, I instead was drawn to my piano that I had had since I was 4 years old, because that was the only other stabilizing thing in my life. Was that piano was always there for me, and I never took it seriously, even though I'd done it for 20 years. And that day when I was at my lowest and I felt like everything was too overwhelming, too many expectations, I just the piano called out to me, and I sat down at it and was classically trained, never composed anything ever.
Mm.
And in that moment, I improvised Soul Flame, and Soul Flame took me out of that dark place. And I never let Soul Flame see the light of day until this past year, because I was too concerned that it wasn't what I was supposed to be. So, for anyone out there that has had that feeling of identity, strong identity, set in something that you feel like you're supposed to do, but you have some feeling that, oh my gosh, maybe I don't want to do this anymore, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Wow. That's an incredible story. And I think that something that happens with many of us is we're maybe we have an idea, or like you said, an identity of what we're supposed to do. And there's something even better and bigger calling us forth. And so listening to that, um, knowing and calling, it's kind of, for me, I consider it really guided. And
Yes.
many times I'll hit a wall in life because I'm being redirected to something that aligns more and serves more of humanity than what I thought I was supposed to do.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's exactly. It's the that alignment, and as you grow and your energy changes. I've learned a lot about identity. It's straying away from that science. I ended up learning really about identity changes
Mhm.
every second of every day, because it's actually defined by the neuron connection in your brain. And every second, those synapses are changing and evolving, and you're becoming a new person. So, why punish yourself for feeling drawn towards something new when
Mm,
you're a totally new person every second? And
yes.
that really changed a lot of what I did.
I love that. That's sort of the theme of my book is everything leads to whatever rock bottom you're going through. In the end, the last part of the book is really it's leading to reinventing your life, but this time on your terms.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, so there's something about that. And identity, we have it so strong. So when you go through a divorce, you have an identity crisis because you were the husband or the wife or the partner of so and so, and you identified and you had a group of friends and you had this whole identity with that. Or your kids grow up
Mm.
and you had the identity of mom, and all of a sudden you just got fired if you did a really good job, from the mom you used to be. And so that's a whole identity crisis, and there's so many more: losing a loved one, um, all these different things in life. When our parents get older, we have the identity crisis of, oh my gosh, now I'm my mom's mom,
Mm.
because I have to parent my parent and I have to take care of her now, or my dad, or whoever it was or is in your life. And so there is this identity crisis that happens over and over again. And that point of, when that happens, many times people get those thoughts, because they don't know where they fit. And there's always something better waiting.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And I think the I don't know where I fit is a huge problem, especially in Western culture. We like to categorize things.
Hmm.
We like to put things in little boxes with labels on them. We like to call them stuff. And and I feel that that can that can lead towards those feelings of the massive identity crisis, because if we're able to open up our conceptions of ourselves and say, hey, I'm ever changing, then those changes in life, those now I'm the mom to my mom, or your mom is thinking, I feel like I lost independence. Instead, maybe we can see things in a more fluid light of, this is how I am now, and
Hmm.
that's okay.
Hmm. Yes, and it's that present moment that we don't celebrate, especially in our culture, where it's okay to be in this moment and not striving for something else, and not, lamenting the past, and just enjoy the now, because the no, the now is going to be our past soon enough. Make some
Yes,
memories, have fun, do
yes.
crazy things. I do consulting with groups, and I know some of the families I worked with. I remember one that really struck me, because I said, my kids are fighting all the time now that we homeschool. We don't know what to do. They're always fighting. And I said, how's your relationship? Oh, we're fighting all the time. And I said, okay, good. There you go. And I said, well, since you moved your business home and your family business, and since you moved your kids home, have you taken one day off to play? When
Ooh.
was the last time you laughed or sang and had this beautiful music come into your life? When did this happen? And they were like, we haven't done that in months. And this was back in the when the lockdowns first happened in their state. And so it was really permission to play.
Oh my goodness. Yes. I am trained in improvisation acting as well. And that is one of my classes that I teach for teens and middle schoolers. And first of all, I wanted to thank you for your work. I was wanted to say that first as you started saying that you were doing consulting. Thank you for your work. I think that bringing awareness towards play, open up, it's okay, and yes, and the moment is that's really what I improv is life, and life is improv in my eyes. I'm an
Mhm.
improvisation pianist, I'm an improvisation actress. I just yes anding everything, from the person in the grocery store that's grumbling, yes and that, from the coworker who's giving you grief, yes and that. Accept the given moment, accept your emotions, yes and your emotions. I'm
Yes.
feeling angry right now. Yes. And what am I going to do to add to this and move further and grow?
Mm.
So I appreciate your consulting work that you do for families, definitely, especially during these times.
Thank you. Yes. And I think when you said that, yes, and that. So we lost my youngest son. I have six children. I adopted three of my own. This was my youngest, and one of my surprise babies that I had. And it he passed away in December 2019, and it
I'm so
was
sorry.
that. It was everybody in the family came home, and I was like, "You want to cry? You want to wake me up at 3 in the morning, and we're gonna cry and yell together and hit pillows, whatever we need to do to get through that and embrace those emotions too." Because I feel like, and this is just my own crazy feeling, is that when we hold all these emotions in and we don't get to express them, because, oh, it's not okay to express all these emotions, that's when we start to have pain in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
The disease is because our bodies are not at ease because we didn't get to express things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I've found that um, there's a difference between honoring an emotion and allowing it to control you.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely throughout my life I've taken to journaling. I've taken to finding those people in your life that are okay to open up to, that are positive resources that help guide you towards the healing path rather than yes anding the negative and keeping you in it. It's a balancing act between honoring the emotion as you have expressed, letting it flow through you because you don't want it to stay in you. Let it go through you like a cloud. It's always going,
Yeah.
but don't ride with the cloud. Let it go through you,
Yes.
you know.
Yes, it's so true. And yeah, I mean, my daughter got 3 degrees during that year because she and it was we were stuck with the online and everything else, and she just kept busy. So it was like, yes, we had our moments, but she just and that's the way we've been going is and this show has grown and other things I'm doing because we were able to get that out, talk about it when we need to. Holidays, things show up, but emotions come back, and we keep going and enjoying and helping other people out of I think there's something about helping other people too, about getting out of your own head and into your heart and going out to do something. Now, I studied Tony Robbins and all these different people, and his thing, he had these breakthrough programs for consultants and coaches. And in the breakthrough programs, anytime somebody was going through the worst thing you could imagine, his assignment to them, one of the assignments would always be to go and help somebody else, go
Mm,
volunteer at the shelter, go help. And that was getting out of your heart, getting out of your head and into your heart and getting back to helping others. And you can't be in that place of, I don't know, depression or sadness or sorrow or whatever when you're helping somebody else. So
yeah.
if you're feeling low, maybe pick up the phone and call people, check on those people, even the strong ones you think are good,
Mm.
check on them. And by the end of an hour or so of texting and calling people, you'll be in conversations and they'll be like, oh, thank goodness, I'm so glad you called, and you'll be helping them, and the next thing you know, you're lit up and happy, and it's just a beautiful thing. It's almost like whenever I feel low, I say, okay, somebody out there is feeling this and I'm just catching it and I need to call and check in.
I love that. I love that feeling of connection, that empathy that you're expressing. That's to me. I love that Earl Nightingale has a talk, and I love listening to it over and over. And it's really about what service will you provide for what you're wanting in return.
Mm,
And I I really didn't operate on that level when I was back in school. The service I figured was, well, I'm going to help animals because I love animals. And as I evolved, I realized, oh my goodness, I'm pulled towards a different service. And I ignored it for a
mm,
while. And I was doing jobs that were not serving, they seemed like they were only serving me. They were serving somebody else in a superficial way. And you can't help but come home and feel unfulfilled when you're doing something that's not truly of service,
mhm.
of the service that you feel proud of. And one thing, and I don't know if this is a good thing to say, but I feel like the silver lining of COVID that happened, or at least the lockdowns in particular, is that people had a chance to be with themselves more
Mhm.
and realize, hey, I'm not happy doing what I'm doing,
Right.
and I sit with myself and I do feel unfulfilled.
Mm,
And of course, that can lead to depression. But for some people, that leads towards what else can I do?
right. Yes, that's beautiful. Now, I'd love to hear. We shared your song at the beginning of the show, so I'd love to hear about how this came about in your life, the music and the song. Did you always want to do music on the side as a child, or how did it show up?
Well, I've always been a performer, but I never took it seriously. because I've always thought that as a performer, it was just, especially for piano, it was just memorize these 15 pages, play
Mhm.
them in front of the judge, and get your stamp of approval, because that's what piano was for a while. It was read other people's stuff and play it.
Mhm.
And so for music, my mom put me into it. And from a young age, from 4 years old. And music and dance, I was put into also. Dance was what my mom had always done, and piano was what she always wished she would have done, but she never listened to her parents. So I was put in those things, um, and didn't recently come to the realization that I could identify as a musician and feel good about myself until COVID hit, actually,
Mhm.
which is why I say that of I'm not happy doing what I'm doing, feeling. Uh, I never took uh, dance and piano as seriously as I should have, considering the emotional healing that both of them have provided me throughout my life. That when my connection with them was severed when I went to college, and I didn't keep those, I really realized how important they were for my life, and I respected them. So
Mhm.
then that song Soul Flame that I improvised and then created in my apartment when I was all alone um, years ago didn't surface until this past year, as a option alone to be
Mhm.
able to bring to the world.
Mhm.
So as for did I always envision myself being a musician? Yeah, I did, but I ignored it. I
Mhm.
had this vision of me performing somehow. It was like a dream, almost like something that I had done before, maybe, but
Mhm.
couldn't remember, and always seemed like it was out there.
Yeah.
And I'd push it out there, and it would stay
Mhm.
out there until recently. And finally, I've just said, you know what? Let's bring those things forward.
Wow. And then you realize that's the shoe that fits you the best.
Yeah,
Is
at least in this moment.
yes, yes, isn't that incredible? And that's something to that. So y- parents, listen to your young children. If they have some kind of talent or love that they want to do, let them explore those things when it's safe and they're young. And then if you're a parent or you just got married or you're working long hours, stop for a moment and think about what talents, passions, fun pleasures that you had as a young child that really you feel alive. They don't cost much. They're practically free, and you stop doing them because you had to go to college and you had to grow up and get a job. That that is the best medication toward depression, anger, all that. It's just to go do that, whether it's you love to play sports, sing, swim, play musical instruments, dance, whatever it is, do art, anything, do that. And as you're a parent and things are so serious right now, take the time to express your art, your passion, even just for your children to see so they can find their talents and passion. I think that's
Yes,
going to make a big difference.
yes. I endorse that message wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about the improv and the music and how this is coming together for you and how you're helping others with
Do you mind repeating that question about the improv?
it. Like, how are you using that today in your work?
Oh, in my work.
Yeah.
So piano for me used to be classically read this piece, read these notes, and improv piano is practically all I do now.
Mm,
It to me, I sit down at the piano, same piano I've had since I was 4. It's lasted,
mm,
and I just let myself look out the window at the trees. And sometimes I have a person in mind. Sometimes I have a vision in mind. In the case of Gentle Dragons, the entire album was based around these imaginary dragon names that, just for fun in play, I wrote down the first word that came to in my mind, and I wrote 7 names, and each one of them were these odd drophins, ictonal, and I yes-anded those names. So all I did was I sat at the piano, felt the name, let myself have whatever visuals as I just looked out the window and start playing. And then I record it. And then I publish it. And that's it. And that's at least the neoclassical pieces that I have on my Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music. The vocal releases are definitely different for me, because they're less of an emotional play and more of they come from deeper. I guess that's the best way I can say. The vocal releases, I have Soul Flame, and I have one in the works now for next year's release. But the vocal releases seem to come from a different place. Still necessary, but it's more so the simple neoclassical piano seems like it's more for me to just play with my emotions and let them paint some pretty picture. But the vocal releases seem to have some deep mission behind them. I have Soul Flame obviously as a mission in saving one's life, because that's what it did for me. It pulled me out of that. And it, almost like it was talking to me, the vocals that were coming out of me. But the next one for next year, Savior, had this, it came to me also. It wasn't something that I was like, I should write a song on this. It just happened. And Savior is the one for next year, and it is actually about world peace. And so my vocal releases, they've never been like the neoclassical ones, but I guess that's the best thing that I can explain, is that they come from someplace deeper, but still important.
That's so nice. So that's really important. The difference between um, studying the notes and playing what you're supposed to play, and just letting things flow. And that's really important. If you're teaching children, let them have that, even if they're learning notes and learning classical, or what was it, Suzuki? We did the Suzuki method with all the kids. They play everything, and
Yes.
it was great, but I mean, it was hard on me because I had to learn how to do the instruments with them. And I was like, oh my gosh. So then they take off without you at a certain point. But there's something in that freedom. And I can remember 3rd or 4th grade that we were required to take an instrument in school. And I was in a little sweet little public community school. And I didn't have time to learn the notes. I was in so much abuse at home and crazy stuff going on, and parents in and out of hospital and all that. And so for me, I didn't know I just faked it, and I was playing by ear, and I could play a lot by ear, and I got yelled at, and the teacher took my violin from me and said, that's bad because we don't know the notes. And I'm like, okay. And I stopped playing for
Oh,
probably 15 years because of that one teacher.
mm,
Isn't that interesting? And I thought, well, I just can't play music.
ooh.
Isn't that crazy?
See, my fiance has the same problem, except it wasn't coming from the teacher. Fortunately, that's really rough that they came from the teacher.
Right.
It was about his voice
Mm,
and about guitar. And for 20 years, that guitar sat in the closet because someone said, you should stick with what you're good at.
oh,
And
wow.
that influence. And then the vocals is something that I think a lot of people misinterpret. And we were just talking about this yesterday. He always felt like he could never sing, and my goodness, does this guy have amazing diaphragm, and he can have the best voice. But when your confidence runs away for a moment, or rather your insecurity is at the front line, all of a sudden your voice will be quivery. And when you're playing an instrument, if you doubt yourself, all of a sudden your fingers don't know where they go.
Mm.
It doesn't even matter how long you've played. I played 20 years, and when I first started performing improvisation in coffee houses, I noticed that shakiness. And
Yeah.
so, one really common misconception, especially with voice, is that everything has to be natural talent.
Mm.
It doesn't. In my opinion, natural talent is natural confidence. It's
Nice.
that natural ability to get into the flow of play and not feel bad about when you miss a shot or you miss
Right.
something, you know. It's just
Mhm.
you're in your own mind, you're playing, and that I feel is where you can reach natural talent.
Yes, yes. Isn't that beautiful? And you said make a shot. And I remember going to foster care as a young teenager, and I never played basketball. Okay. And the girls had a team, and you have to play. And so I finally made a basket, but it was right after the halftime.
Oh,
And they changed the hoop where you the basket that we're supposed to put it in. I made a basket for the other team.
oh,
I was so proud of myself. I was like, I made a basket, yes. And they were so mad at me. And oh, well, I didn't know the rules. I was that child. I was still just playing and having
yes,
fun, and just I was like, oh, you never told me you're gonna change the basket.
exactly.
So the rules are good, but sometimes it's just being natural and playing and having fun, but you're going to learn more in anything, a sport,
Yes,
music. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You will find more out of just having fun with it and loving yourself through it. Don't get so mad at yourself if you make a mistake. It's okay. It's all good.
yes, yes. The mistakes are part of learning.
Yeah.
You can't have learning without a couple mistakes, but it's the weight that you put on the mistakes.
Mm,
Even in improv now for piano and improv acting too, I might say something that doesn't necessarily go with the scene, but it came to mind. But you
right.
keep moving forward. For
Right.
improv piano, I might miss a note, my finger might slip. But what I do when I do that is I do it again in a way that it makes it sound like I intended it.
I love it. Yes.
And you know, it's and so you just roll with it. I meant to do that
Mm,
because it happened. And
yeah.
you just yes and those situations.
So I'd love to hear how at the improv piano and music, how does that help with like music therapy and helping people get through tough times? How does that work?
Well, definitely the ability to convey emotions in a universal language that has no words is
Mm,
something that I feel can open the floodgates of emotions that otherwise could not be released with words alone. I I feel that way for myself. I can speak on behalf of myself as far as wanting to say something, getting in a mood, and instead of misdirecting the energy, whether it be insecurity, anger, whatever that emotion is, sadness, guilt, shame, sit down at the piano, pick up the instrument. It doesn't matter how good you are, but let yourself be alone if you don't feel confident so that those mistakes are not mistakes. It's just the instrument helping you speak for
mm,
your emotions.
mhm.
So when I Lullaby of Solitude is one of the songs that is a new classical piece that I was, and I recorded in my mind, what did I feel when I played this? I was very upset. I felt hurt. I felt insecure and embarrassed. I felt bullied and trapped. And so I just wanted to say something, but I couldn't because there's no words.
Mhm.
And so for music, again, for other people, try it. If you feel not confident with just messing around with an instrument, be alone. Try it. And my partner, my fiance now, he felt that way about guitar. He told me, I just want to say something through it, but I don't feel like it's going to be right. Don't worry about it being right. Just start going at it. And before you knew it, he was sitting there just talking out loud to me, and he's just playing something beautiful. It's like, how are you doing that? You just started playing like 3 months ago. And it's because he wasn't in his own head and he felt comfortable. So he was able to get those emotions that he wanted to get out in a way that words can't.
Yes, that is something. I think about music in my life, in my kids' life, they'll express things through music that depending on how they feel. I know listening to the music when they were teens, I would know, okay, something's not right. They had a breakup, they had a fight, they had, and depending on what was going on, it'd be like, what's going on? Okay, I already know. Oh yeah, this person made me mad, blah blah blah, or they left me, or and it was right on, but it was getting them through their emotions.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? I actually, I had a talk that I did online a long time ago. It was a couple years, and I noticed that there were certain songs that I used to listen to over and over and over that honestly, it felt like it vibed with that low energy state that I was in.
Hmm.
And it wasn't until I grew out of it and healed from those moments that I turned around and I go, I actually don't want to hear this song anymore. And I think that's okay. I think
Hmm.
that when you grow out of music, that's fine because there's always somebody who is in that place that can benefit from the energy that the artist is in. And more than anything, and I've gone back and forth philosophically with, is there some music that is damaging? And I do believe there might be some that is damaging. Um, but I do feel that some music, although it is a lower energy state, is
Hmm.
something that tells that person that's listening to it that they're not alone.
Yeah.
I think that yes, there's damaging music, but some of that music,
Hmm.
not the damaging music, but some of music is just right to plug into another being and know I'm not alone in this
Right.
feeling.
Yeah.
This artist felt this way,
Mm,
and that's I think enough to help somebody.
right. That makes so much sense. And it's one of those things. There are songs that I can hear, and within a minute, or not even 30 seconds, I'll be in tears.
Yeah.
Or other songs where I feel like I can just do anything in the world. I'm like,
Yes.
yes. And then there's other songs where I have cleaning songs. So
Mm-hmm.
I love music, obviously, too. And Sheila means music, all that. And so in my house, I play beautiful, peaceful music, like
Mm.
a meditation with the aqua, and the everything in the center of the house throughout the day. Then when I need to clean, I have cleaning music. And it's like to up because I can't clean alone. I got to have somebody with me.
Oh yeah.
I have all these fun songs and I'm happy and I don't even realize I'm doing whatever I need to do. And then there's other songs that I play for different reasons. And so music is definitely a way to express, you're getting the emotion out that,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, maybe you can't talk about it, but you can sing about it. And
Yes.
so I'm a famous car singer or shower singer or house singer.
I believe it.
And I think we can all do that to especially now show yourself, your partner, your children, whoever's with you in your home, elders. Let's just do that. Let's have a moment and sing some songs, and everybody get a song on the list and just go crazy in the house and do that. And maybe whatever you're doing, some kind of project together, and you'll be surprised at the difference.
I,
That
I have to I have to share with you. I again my partner or my fiance now, it was very recent. So my fiance
congratulations.
had this that issue with the fearing vocals, and I kept wanting him to go to karaoke with me. This was
Mm,
pre-COVID. And and instead of doing that, it's like, okay, let's do baby steps. So I bought a Bluetooth boombox speaker with a microphone you can jam in it.
I love
and
it.
and just the two of us, in the place we were living in at the time during 117 degrees in Arizona,
Mhm.
we sweated out in there and we just back and forth put on, got my phone, put on sad music because that's the vibe both of us were feeling, and we both belted sad music, and then he sang some, and eventually you went out of the sad and it went to hilarious songs and fun
Mhm.
songs. And we did that for like 5 hours one day. We just took that time. It's like, let's just do this. Both of us are feeling low.
Mhm.
And he was hesitant at first, but then, man, we just like, we were bawling on some
Yeah.
songs. Both of us were just crying. And then we got to the point where it was just this joyful, hey, we feel good now. Let's go get something to eat.
Yep. That is definitely so. Music can be so helpful, especially during these interesting times. And maybe you're in a place where you have to have kids home still. Like mine are barely, they're in college and above, and some of them are home because the dorms closed and they're barely going to school, um, and choosing to stay home and go nearby because of the situation. And so they need this time if they're stuck at home, especially to, it's okay to make noise. We don't
Yeah.
have to be quiet all day.
Yeah.
You don't live in a church or a temple. I mean, you can have your prayer time, but you got to, think about it. School kids, even young adults, you yell, you're, hey, and you're celebrating something. You don't get those expressions sitting in a quiet home.
No. Yes, I agree.
That's just, see the difference. I think that can make a big difference. And with the numbers so high with suicide, depression, medications, this is such a great alternative before you have to go down those roads of medication and this and that, to just have more fun, play some music, get out there and laugh,
Yes.
play.
Yes, definitely. Laugh and play and express. And I do have to add, just because part of the Soul Flame movement, I have this therapy support program that I'm working to put together. And one of the missions of the therapy support program is I want people to be okay with the concept of therapy as well.
Yeah.
Because, yes, 100% play therapy is actually a thing. There's actually there's I think Besselham. There's actually a guy that utilizes improvisation acting as a
Mhm.
therapy technique for trauma healing.
Wow.
And so that's something that I want people to be more open to all techniques of therapy. There's a lot. There's
Mhm.
music therapy, there's hypnotherapy, there's psychotherapy, there's 50 or so different types of therapy or more. And I'd like people to start seeing that more if they really feel like they're in a rut, because I have to share that I felt like I was. And I did self help to the point that I could, and
Right.
it's okay to say, you know what, this is a pattern that for some reason I was able to shake off all this, but
Mhm.
this is a pattern that seems
Right.
kind of stuck.
Yep.
And I want people to be okay with the thought that don't view therapy as something being wrong with you. View therapy
Mm.
as you would viewing going to the gym
Yes.
or some type of physical, like going biking, something for your physical body. Take care of your emotional body just like you take care of your physical body. You know,
Yeah.
and that to me is, as I've seen therapy in that form of a, hey, I'm going to go do this,
Mm.
I'm going to go to this session, or I'm going to have this online session. It's taking time that normally people would be like, I gotta go to the gym and lift weights excessively even. And it's like, why can't we at least have a balance so that now we're exercising our emotional body more? Yes, you
Mhm.
can do that through play and through self-expression, but for those patterns that are stuck, don't feel like there's anything wrong with you for saying, I'm gonna try out therapy. It
Yeah.
should be normalized.
Yes. And, like I mentioned before, our loss in our family, I told every kid, adult kid, you need to go to the grief counseling. We all need to go to the grief counseling, and and I had some that were really not, not sure about it, the more scientific couple. And um, it was interesting because then my favorite rock star Pink came on, and she had a YouTube where she interviewed her therapist. And she talked openly, and they had this talk, and I shared it with everyone. They all, okay, it's not that bad of a deal, and let me go do this. And they all did. And then, some of them changed. They did different things. And then, okay, I'm done. I don't need it anymore. Or maybe if I feel bad on the holidays, I'll call back again or whatever. And so I was so grateful that that was something that was available and that more people are talking about that. Sometimes you just need something outside of yourself or outside of your family or maybe your close friend, whatever, because they don't have the experience or the ability to work with that particular situation. Most of my young kids, losing a young kid, most of the friends, they didn't know how to um, connect
Yeah.
through this. How do you deal with something like this, and connect with the friends? Didn't give what they thought they needed because they didn't know either. It was just
Exactly.
really scary, and so they needed to have somebody help out that's just experienced in that, and it makes a big difference. It
It
really does.
it really does, and I have to share, to me, my experience of therapy has been almost like that of a personal trainer for the emotional body. As I've said, it's just like going to the gym. These people, you could try it alone, but sometimes you might hurt yourself, if you don't know what tools you're using for your emotions are
Mm-hmm.
actually helping you. You might be in proper form when you're working on it. I'm just using that as an analogy. But then when you go to the therapist and you say, hey, this has been happening over and over and I don't know what's going on, the therapist uh, more so guides you towards being able to reshape your emotional body. They're not at the gym doing the workout for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what it is. The therapist is saying, hey, here's a tool you can use. Here's the form you should try next time this situation comes up when you're doing this. Like, here's what you can try. And all they can do is they give you that guidance, but it's like this, if you commit to it, just like one would say, I'm going to commit to this, because
Right.
I've talked to some therapists, and a lot of therapists say, you know what, no matter what, the person has to be ready to heal when
Exactly.
they come to me, and that's just the truth of it. And
Mm-hmm.
more often than not, if you're open to and seeking therapy, it means that you're ready.
Yes.
and and then that therapist will give you some tool, and that readiness in you will say, and I will use this.
Yes, yes, very, very true. You've got to still do the work, the subscribed work, whatever that is, the going through it, being committed, coming back, or maybe if it's not a good fit, find somebody else
Yes.
because you're committed to yourself. Just like a personal trainer, you could have different ones that some work, some don't work, but it's not them and it's not bad for them. It's just you need something that's aligned with where you're at right now to get you to that next step,
Exactly.
and that's it. So that's really wonderful. Now I'd love for you to share how people can hear your music and learn more about all you're doing.
Yes, my music is available on every major streaming platform: Amazon Music, Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, and a bunch of other, I think Deezer, and a lot of ones I don't know the names of, but there's like 200 different ones. Every major one I'm on. And you can find my name, just Emma Paunil, Paunil. And otherwise, if you want to know what I'm doing, I am not quite active as I should be on social media, but I am very active on my personal website, which is just www.emmapaunil, EMMAPAUNIL.com. All the information for Soul Flame is on there under my music releases. I have the information for Soul Flame on there. Otherwise, I do have social media. It's just Instagram, Emma Paunil Music, and Facebook as well. Same thing, Emma Paunil Music. You can find my page on there as well.
All right, Emma. Well, thank you again for being a guest on the show. And for those tuning in, we'll be back after these messages.
Hi, this is Emma Paunil. I just wanted to announce a contest that I'm running alongside my Soul Flame release coming this World Suicide Prevention Day. In the spirit of World Suicide Prevention, I really want people for this contest to share either a video or written post on their social medias with the hashtag Soul Flame Movement to be able to share any message they have on suicide prevention or mental health awareness, what emotional health means to you, and any positive experience you may have had with therapy. I want everybody to be involved in this so that way the concept of mental health and receiving therapy can be completely destigmatized and normalized. I appreciate your participation and thank you for making this world a better place.
If you are just tuning in, this is NBC Sheila Mack Show here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. And today I have something special to share with you. Are you ready to take your power back, take your life back? Have you just experienced a difficult situation or just living through our very interesting times? Are you ready to reinvent, rebuild, and reboot life on your terms? Check out my new book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. Here's a little bit more.
Necessitated. You need a guide to show you how we get through a situation like this, to give you resources and to help you get out of the emotional pea soup fog of dealing with a crisis and the resulting fallout. I've been there, and I'm here to help you. Out of the fog. If you weren't emotionally bound up in your situation, you would have more clarity. You would be able to see your best options for dealing with whatever comes up. If the version of yourself who has already walked through this rock bottom and come out the other end could go back in time and give you, the you right now, some advice, what would she say? Would she tell you to slow down, to stop rushing, that you don't have to have all the answers today? Would the future you recommend not making any major decisions without reviewing them first, particularly while you're still in the fog? Would she tell you that normal is going to look different for a while, but that you will feel normal again? In case we haven't invented time travel by the time you read this book, I'm here to tell you all of the above. I developed the Boots formula to help you learn to make choices, have a life shift, and make great things happen based on your individual values and best life vision. A change is going to happen, and it's worth it. There's a stage where it feels like everyone in your life is picking at you. Life itself may seem like it's trying its best to stop you from doing whatever you want to do. All you hear is, "That's a stupid idea," and "That's never going to work," and "Who do you think you are?" One of the hardest things for people to do is to realign and possibly walk away from anything and anyone that conflicts with their value systems. But you are going to discover that power within yourself. Through the activities and examples in this book, you will discover your true north and will be able to easily do what is needed to move forward with your life. Anything that hurts you, that doesn't resonate for you, that fights against what you want and believe in, you are going to give it the boot. Once you have turned your rock bottom moment into a positive, beautiful life shift, you can live your life on your terms. Your life will probably look different, but you get to design it this time. You are taking your life back, and you are in charge, not anybody else. Sooner than you can imagine, you'll be in the career of your dreams or the relationship you always wanted. Because you are going to learn to develop healthy boundaries. Because you are going to do things